Hey guys, my name is Nick, and you are watching The Sports Entertainer. Make sure you have subscribed to our channel with post notifications turned on, so that you never miss out on one of our daily WWE videos. Now, wrestling fans are still reeling in from the massive returns that occurred at Survivor Series last Saturday, as we witnessed the truly massive comebacks of CM Punk and Randy Orton in the same night, two of the biggest stars in the industry, and by all means the fan interest in WWE has been at an all-time high this week. Randy Orton appeared on Monday Night Raw this week, where Randy got into a bit of a verbal altercation with the Judgment Day's Rhea Ripley, and proceeded to defeat Dominic Mysterio later in the show. And while some fans thought Randy Orton showing up on Monday Night Raw signaled that Triple H and Vince McMahon planned for Randy to be featured on the Raw brand moving forward, clearly WWE have other plans, and it seems as though CM Punk will be the guy featured on Monday Night Raw, and Randy Orton will be on SmackDown, because later in the week on SmackDown, Randy Orton once again made a big appearance, which was a welcome sight, as it shows Orton is coming back to WWE on a full-time basis. Now, on SmackDown this past week, SmackDown General Manager Nick Aldis was trying his hardest to get the free agent Randy Orton to sign with SmackDown, with Aldis promising Orton that if he were to sign with the Blue brand, Randy would get an opportunity against the guys who took him out in the first place, Roman Reigns and the Bloodline, but there's no doubt that the Raw General Manager Adam Pearce was hoping that Orton would sign for the Raw brand. However, in the end, Randy Orton ended up going against Paul Heyman's wishes to go to Raw, with Randy choosing to sign the dotted lines on the SmackDown contract, which got a huge pop from the fans, as everyone wants to see Randy Orton set his sights on the undisputed WWE Universal Champion Roman Reigns heading into the 2024 Royal Rumble Premium live event. However, while SmackDown General Manager Nick Aldis was extremely happy that Randy Orton decided to sign with Friday Night SmackDown, instead of taking up Raw General Manager Adam Pearce's contract offer, the way SmackDown ended was certainly not what Nick Aldis had envisioned, and even wrestling fans were shocked at the way Randy Orton concluded SmackDown, and unfortunately for the Viper, he will reportedly have to pay the price for his actions on SmackDown this past Friday in the coming days and weeks. Basically, right after Randy Orton signed the SmackDown contract, Nick Aldis would enter the ring and clap for Orton's decision to go to SmackDown, and Aldis would then proceed to raise Randy Orton's arm, the newest addition to the SmackDown roster, but Randy Orton couldn't help himself and proceeded to deliver a truly devastating RKO to Nick Aldis out of nowhere, and you could tell fans were shocked at what to make of Randy Orton's antics, and even Randy Orton himself was shocked at what he did to Nick Aldis, and seemed to show signs of being sorry for letting his intrusive thoughts win in that situation to deliver an RKO out of nowhere to Aldis. Now, Nick Aldis would take to social media on X after SmackDown this past week and basically give his instant reaction to Randy Orton's RKO out of nowhere, with Aldis saying this, quote, "It really is out of nowhere," and not surprisingly, this tweet from Nick Aldis went fairly viral and got a ton of attention from fans, and while it seemed as though Nick Aldis was in relatively good spirits after that lack or respect shown by Orton on SmackDown to the general manager of the show, according to a breaking new behind-the-scenes report, Nick Aldis is not going to let Orton's behavior slide. Perhaps the general managers of the past in WWE would have let Orton off the hook for doing something like that, but not Nick Aldis. Now, the breaking new behind-the-scenes report mentions that Nick Aldis plans to make an example out of Randy Orton this coming week on SmackDown, and effectively suspend Randy Orton from WWE indefinitely for his shocking actions, with Aldis's reasoning for suspending Randy Orton to make things clear to the Viper that things are different in WWE these days, at least on SmackDown, and order is being maintained and enforced, and random outbursts like the one Randy Orton had on SmackDown last week, where he quite literally delivered one of the most devastating RKOs, to Nick Aldis will not go unpunished, whether fans feel Nick Aldis should simply get over it or not, because clearly Aldis isn't agreeing with the fans who feel he should just get over it and forgive Randy Orton, and that it wasn't Randy Orton's fault, it was basically the voices in Orton's head. Now, wrestling fans will be wondering, well, if Nick Aldis does in fact choose to suspend Randy Orton from SmackDown and WWE in general, because of the uncalled for RKO on SmackDown last week, does this mean Randy Orton will be permanently gone from WWE just as quickly as he arrived at Survivor Survivor Series last weekend? Well, obviously no, because one of our sources has revealed that WWE still have massive plans for Randy Orton heading into the new year, and that he will still be feuding with Roman Reigns for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship come the Royal Rumble next month, but that still leaves plenty of time for Nick Aldis to make an example out of Randy Orton and keep him on the shelf for several weeks, and Randy Orton's rumored suspension from WWE could also have another reason for it, because perhaps WWE want to keep Randy Orton away from television as much as they can prior to the massive Royal Rumble match against Roman Reigns to keep Randy's momentum as high as possible, and keeping Orton's appearances to a minimum with this suspension will make Orton's eventual return for the Roman Reigns title match way bigger and more special feeling for fans than if Orton was appearing every week on SmackDown, and thus Orton's appearances would feel less big and special. Regardless, Randy Orton is going to have to learn to not let his thoughts get the better of him and refrain from always delivering these out-of-nowhere RKOs, because this time Orton did it to the wrong man, the general manager of Friday Night SmackDown, and like we mentioned, if these breaking backstage reports are true, Randy Orton will be getting suspended from WWE indefinitely next week on SmackDown, or possibly WWE may even make an announcement on social media before the show next week revealing Randy Orton's suspension as per Nick Aldis's request. Now, we have a very interesting WWE news story that you guys need to know before we wrap up this breaking WWE news and rumors video, and clearly the company are already planning some massive potential matches for the recently returning cult of personality CM Punk. For those of you who haven't heard the news, reports went around the other day that WWE could be considering moving ahead with a CM Punk versus Stone Cold Steve Austin match in the future, a dream match that WWE have apparently been wanting to put together for a while now, although we have an update on this to put a bit of cool water on these rumors. Apparently WWE have yet to reach out to Stone Cold Steve Austin regarding this idea of a CM Punk match, nor has Stone Cold even agreed to working another match for WWE. However, the fact that this is even being discussed backstage is a bit shocking, because Stone Cold Steve Austin seems like he doesn't really want to wrestle again after his Kevin Owens match last year at WrestleMania 38, and we personally feel WWE should probably let Steve Austin ride off into the sunset and enjoy his retirement after that one-off Kevin Owens match, and not potentially risk Stone Cold Steve Austin tarnishing his legacy by once again coming back for a CM Punk match, which may not go down so well. Of course, on paper, this seems like a massive match that WWE would be dumb not to pull the trigger on, but when you really think about it, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to us. But let us know if you guys think WWE should reach out to Stone Cold for a CM Punk match in the near future. Is this something you guys would want to see? Let us know down in the comments section below. For us personally, if WWE want a massive match for the Showcase of the Immortals WrestleMania 40 next year involving CM Punk, it's hard to argue that Seth Rollins wouldn't be the perfect opponent. Fans are already excited for this future CM Punk and Seth Rollins match after what went down at Survivor Series, and we believe a Rollins vs. Punk match would deliver far more for fans than a Stone Cold Steve Austin match for CM Punk, which could go down as a bit of a train wreck. The Seth Rollins match for WrestleMania next year makes all the sense in the world for CM Punk, but again, let us know if a Stone Cold Steve Austin match would interest you for Punk.